I won't be waiting much longer. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The most popular Terraria mod ever made. The biggest one, the Calamity mod. Calamity stands as one of the oldest Terraria mods that continues to be developed. It originated back in 2016 for Terraria's last update ever, 1.3, and it's still actively worked on and updated. The updates are regular and notable. What I really appreciate is that they don't just add things randomly to the game. Instead, there's a proper game development approach here. Most updates focus on making various small but meaningful improvements to the mod, addressing bugs, balancing items and enemies, incorporating new sounds and visuals. They could have just thrown in a million unbalanced bosses, weapons and armor sets like many gaming mods do, and people would be fine with it. But no, they have standards. The developers focus on delivering a well-crafted experience rather than flooding the game with content. This dedication to quality is particularly impressive considering that Calamity is a free addition to a $10 game. This level of commitment and excellence goes beyond any expectations. So, what exactly does Calamity do? Terraria is such an amazing game that you can easily make it better by simply adding more. More biomes, more bosses and events, more weapons, classes, armor and NPCs, more of everything. As long as the quality is good, it will be incredible. And that is exactly what Calamity does. In simple words, it's an enormous expansion of the whole game. Basically a Terraria 1.5. It still keeps everything from the vanilla Terraria, but makes it better and introduces a plethora of new content on top. Currently, the mod includes this vast array of content. The ones that I want to focus on here are 27 bosses and 12 mini-bosses, a new playable class, a whopping 1800 items and 700 weapons, 2 full difficulty settings above expert, and changes to vanilla. First and foremost, Terraria revolves around combat, especially boss battles. Boss fights are the core of Terraria and it's the primary goal throughout your playthrough, to fight the next boss. Vanilla Terraria has 19 bosses and 14 event bosses. Calamity more than doubles that number. And they are high quality fights with their own sprites, sounds, AI, phases and more. Many of these bosses maintain a quality indistinguishable from those in the main game, and I am even not afraid to say that some bosses even surpass vanilla. Since its last update ever, 1.1, Terraria has always been divided into 2 progression phases, pre-hard mode and hard mode. Once you defeat the Wall of Flesh, your world transitions into hard mode. New enemies start spawning, new ores are generated, and new biomes appear. It is a major step in the game progression that opens a lot of possibilities to the player. Calamity takes this progression a step further by introducing a post-Moonlord phase. Yes, you heard it right. Moonlord, the final boss of Terraria that marks the completion of your game, isn't the last boss in Calamity. Not even close. 12 out of the 27 added bosses and 2 out of the 12 mini-bosses are fought in the post-Moonlord phase. In this phase, unique ores appear, new world structures are generated, new enemies spawn, the dungeon gets its second upgrade, and a huge number of new crafting options become available. To face all these bosses, you need weapons and armor, and Calamity introduces an incredible variety of both. Weapons are probably the second most crucial aspect in Terraria after bosses. You always strive to get the next weapon, and getting it usually brings a lot of satisfaction, because most weapons are just fun. They range from a shark shooting bullets to a prism firing a massive rainbow laser. Calamity looks at that, takes note, and adds more. Colossal swords, sci-fi rifles, fire scythes, nuclear shark torpedoes, shockwave guns, a saxophone, and many more. You're practically drowning in awesome weapons. At times I even felt overwhelmed because I wanted to try everything, but there were just too many weapons in too little time. It's impossible to properly use all of them in a single playthrough. What's more, no class is left behind. Everyone gets shiny new toys to play with, including the completely new Calamity class, the Rogue. The Rogue class utilizes a unique stealth mechanic and centers around throwing weapons. Throwing weapons are exactly what they sound like, a middle ground between melee and ranger classes. Your weapons are ranged, but not very precise or distant. These can be grenades, bombs, axes, torpedoes, spears, or even just bricks. The stealth mechanic is the heart of the Rogue class, and it's very special. No other class has anything quite like it. While you're not attacking, you generate stealth. At max stealth, you can perform a stealth strike, a special super attack unique to each rogue weapon. Some weapons become homing, others spawn new projectiles, while some just become stronger and faster. This class offers a distinct gameplay where you want to fight in quick bursts. You generate stealth by not attacking, or even better, standing still, and then you use it to execute your stealth strike, quickly dealing a massive amount of damage, before sneaking away again. This class works exceptionally well in multiplayer, where your friends can distract a boss while you generate stealth. For me, it's so impressive that Calamity managed to create a fully developed new class with its own playstyle, damage type, armor sets, weapons and accessories. The Rogue class stands as a genuine, unique addition, on par with any other class in the game, showcasing the level of depth and creativity ingrained in the Calamity mod. Calamity has a reputation for being notably difficult, with many considering it a much more challenging game than vanilla Terraria. And it is kind of true. Calamity introduces two new difficulty modes. Revengeance is a suggested way to experience Calamity, and is designed to be harder than the vanilla expert difficulty. While Death mode goes even further and is for people that really want a challenge. I truly love what Calamity does with the difficulty. You see, they are genuine difficulty modes. By that I mean that they are not just the stupid stat boosts that games often do. Even Terraria's Master mode is simply a flat increase in enemies' health, damage and resistances. Nothing more. Calamity is better than that. Enemies don't receive across-the-board boosts in health or resistance. Instead, the mod makes bosses more challenging by altering the fights themselves, introducing additional attacks, changing their size, making attack patterns faster, adding new phases, stuff like that. A good example would be a King Slime. In Revengeance mode, aside from being faster, spawning more dangerous slimes and generally using his attacks more frequently, he also summons a crown jewel that pursues the player while firing projectiles. And Death mode changes speak for themselves. This is the kind of difficulty enhancements I'm talking about. Beating higher difficulties in Calamity requires preparation and an active use of skills, such as reaction time and attentiveness, rather than simple grinding. It is also a bit debatable whether Revengeance is actually more difficult than Vanilla Expert. For one, Calamity introduces a ton of new items, some of which are quite strong and often more powerful than the vanilla items you'd have at that particular stage. Also, Revengeance and Calamity as a whole increased drop chances for many items compared to Expert difficulty, making it easier to itemize. Even more crucially, the entirely new mechanics Calamity adds help a lot: Rage and Adrenaline. These are two new meters exclusively available if you activate either Revengeance or Death modes, and both are designed to assist you in boss fights. The Rage meter is straightforward. It increases when there are enemies nearby and decreases when there are not. The closer the enemies are, the faster it increases. When it's full, you can activate it for a significant damage boost. Quite simple. Adrenaline, on the other hand, is more unique. It builds only during boss fights and only when you're not taking any damage. Taking damage resets your adrenaline to 0. The payoff for maintaining adrenaline is a tripled damage output for a few seconds, allowing you to defeat bosses much faster if you manage to avoid damage. It's a system that rewards skill and incentivizes improvement. If you become proficient at avoiding damage, then you can build adrenaline and unleash it to blow up a boss. An additional nice mechanic is that if your adrenaline is full and you get hit, you still lose adrenaline, but also you take greatly reduced damage from that hit. This means that adrenaline can be used both offensively and defensively. The last thing I want to add about the difficulty is that it is entirely optional and can be changed at any time. So if you started on a death mode, but when you saw the king slime, you understood that it was a mistake, no problem, change it right away. That's some great game design. Vanilla Terraria, though an incredible game, always faced some issues with progression. One significant problem is that once players enter hard mode, they typically smash 3 altars and spawn all of the hard mode ores at once. This renders lower grade ores like Cobalt and Palladium obsolete instantly. Why bother with them when you can go straight for Adamantite or Titanium, which are just better? However, even these armor and tools won't be used for long, because after defeating any mechanical bosses, you get Hallowed bars that outclass Titanium and Adamantite. This progression seems illogical, and Calamity steps in to address it. Instead of getting all 3 hard mode ores right away, you get Tier 1 ores upon killing the Wall of Flesh, Tier 2 after defeating the first mechanical boss, and Tier 3 only appears after defeating the second mechanical boss, while Hallowed bars start dropping only after defeating the third mechanical boss. With the addition of optional bosses between each of the mechanical bosses, Calamity makes this progression more logical and smooth. Each ore gets its own time to shine, making the progression feel more special. What's even better is that this change is entirely optional. If you prefer the vanilla progression, you can easily revert to it by changing one value in the mod config. Calamity takes elements from vanilla and enhances them or adapts them to the Calamity standard like this, making the experience better. A smaller example is expanding the arena in the Jungle Temple for a more comfortable golem fight. Why not? It is a thoughtful change that improves your experience. This kind of game design, where changes are made to improve the player experience without deviating from the core experience, is something that I truly appreciate. When it comes to Calamity, you just can't ignore the music. Terraria itself is very famous for its awesome soundtrack. Calamity continues this tradition remarkably well. It introduces a total of 44 brand new songs, and they are absolute bangers that elevate boss fights to a whole new level. This is especially important when you're playing Death Mode and find yourself facing Providence, the profane goddess, for the 50th time. However, it's not just about boss fights. There are also incredible biome themes. It's honestly mind-blowing that someone crafted these tracks for a free Terraria mod. Absolutely incredible. Especially this. Equally astounding is the fact that the bosses, biomes and items introduced by Calamity aren't just some random additions, but come with rich lore. Every boss, every biome and many items have a story attached to them. They are all interconnected, weaving a grand narrative and creating a grandiose and cohesive storyline that you can follow. To be honest, I haven't delved into all of this lore myself, but I've seen discussions from people who have, and it seems that they really enjoy the lore and discover some intriguing elements in the narrative. Interestingly, Calamity is so popular that there are also add-ons produced for it, mods for a mod. One of the most notable ones is the Catalyst mod, and another significant one is Infernum mode. Infernum introduces an additional difficulty that surpasses even Calamity's Death mode. It also doesn't mindlessly boost the stats of enemies, but instead works on their AI, attacks, and even adds new phases to some bosses. On the other hand, the Catalyst mod is a pure add-on to Calamity. It introduces a new ore that can be crafted into a range of weapons, tools and armor. It also brings new enemies and even a boss that once was part of the Calamity mod itself, but got replaced. The developers have plans to add even more content, including more bosses and new biomes. Excited to see what would become of it. In conclusion, Calamity rightfully holds its place as the biggest and most popular mod for Terraria. It fulfills all expectation of a top-tier expansion by essentially doubling the amount of content in the game. And all this additional content is of immensely high quality. Not only that, but it also brings improvements to the vanilla game that seamlessly fit. The fact that all of this is available for free is frankly still unbelievable to me. I can't give enough praise to the mod creators. You guys are awesome. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and perhaps even subscribe. Your support goes a long way in helping me create more content. Right now I am putting together a detailed video about modded Terraria, and what you just saw was a sneak peek of that. If the full video is already available, you can view it here. Also, check out another slice right here.